Hi Queens, today we're going to be talking about specifically what I have learned that you don't need to learn through astrology based on everything that I have learned up to date as of 2022. If you're watching this video, I am always growing, I'm always learning, so stay tuned to find out some of the secrets that you might want to know about relationship. Hi, if you don't know who I am, I'm Sindy V King. I'm a creator of Calling My King. I help transform women to create lasting love through Vedic astrology, neuroscience, and transactional analysis so that you become the queen of love. So I want to sum up a few things that I have learned through Vedic astrology or astrology in general. And there's a few things that I want to sum up here about what I have learned so far in relationship, especially in relationship. And that's either being newlywed or trying to be in a relationship or ending the relationship or ending the marriage or having an affair, whatever that might be. I want to share that information with you today. And there's a few things that I have learned here. So I practice the tropical. One thing that I have noticed, most important thing that you have gotten a reading about yourself. That's the first thing. You want to know what is your barriers, what you fall into, what's your pattern, what do you like and don't like, especially because whatever you're projecting out there, your chart is going to trigger that. And that person is going to trigger some of these wounds. If you have not seen your chart before or you don't know what it is, you can always go to astro.com. There's many websites and apps out there that your Chiron is one of those points as well that tells you what you really need to be working, what are kinds of wounds that you need to be working on. And that is important too. Everybody forgets about that. I know Vedic astrology and sidereal, Jyotish in general don't really talk about that part of it because it's not integrated. Astrology is not integrated, but that's the one thing I have noticed. I also am aware of sometimes birth times are not accurate. So you want to find an astrologer that can do a horary chart for you. And that means the time of the moment of the situation that you are in. That is either you got into a fight. Most of the time that I have noticed, the sun is in the 8th house or the masculine part of him is somewhere in the 8th house. And the 8th house tends to be the toilet. Once you're done with the toilet, you want to flush it. I don't get paid enough to teach you how to flush a toilet. I think TikTok can help you on that one. On a funny note, but checking his chart is important, especially for long term. Composition and Davidson charts are really important. Those are the vision and mission of the relationship. What do you guys do on the day-to-day base? What do people see you as on the day-to-day base as well? And what kind of chemistry is all about synastry at the end of the day. But if you have been working and developing and you have a coach with you, that is key to help you to overcome some of the barriers that you might have within your either family, ancestors, or even trauma. Okay, so those are key points there that I have learned. I also have learned that your personal planets like your sun and your moon and your ascendants, those are great. There's also vertex and point of fortunes on all the lots is really important there too. The reason why I'm stressing about these points, because those are trigger points. Yes, Juno is going to be your potential husband or your long-term partner or triggers the wedding. But if you're not in the right transit in general, or if you're not in the right period for love, which is dasha, then this is a great time to still work on yourself so that you can have somebody in your life. And there's so many types of marriage out there. We're living in a time period where platonic marriage is legit now, right? Convenient relationship is allowed now, right? Covenant relationship is acceptable as well, right? So there is different type of marriage that happens, or even agreement in general. It's up to you to do the work, right? Astrology is a big part of it, to see like what is happening to you in the current moment at time. Most astrologer in general can, want, should, wouldn't, do predictions in general where your life is going to be. But it depends on your pain tolerance too, right? We're here to learn something in this life. There's two things that I've learned in general through just life in general, is somebody to love and something to do, right? So we're fulfilling the two component. You're living some sort of life, right? It's really important to not to be scared. It's important to be a place of vulnerable, a place where you're in the window of tolerance as well. I talked about that in trauma. I also teach you as well how to scan your body is really important as well. The Kuta compatibility in general, it's really funny, I'm wearing a tiger. It's Chitra, right? But it's the sexual compatibility, right? The yoni component, right? That's what people are really wanting to know. And I have spoken about this in my other videos, about my yoni videos, about compatibility. Yoni in general is like, yes, it's about creating. That's the yoni, right? That's the wound, and that's the private parts of creating life in general. That is great. And you can have that with family and friends, but it doesn't mean it's sexual all the time. Okay, so yoni is all about creating. I want to make that an important component. It's about creating. However, if you ever get to the point where yoni is our animal instinct, where when you do get scared, that will come out too. And children plays out this unfiltered. So when we get mad, we're gonna really turn out to whatever animal yoni instincts that we have. If you don't know what your yoni is, I made a video about that too. I also made another video about if you have this axis energy or anger, or you want to express your yoni in a non-sexual way, you can do that through exercise. I made a video about that. You want to watch that video as well. But I believe in asteroids can help you with when it comes to the compatibility component. And I had to shout out to, I don't really know her personally, but that's her website. It's called My Christine Psychic. And she really breaks down some of the asteroids that I have never heard of. And I'm playing around with it with my software as well. And, Chiron is a big component. Chiron, Mars is a big component too. And the point of fortune is another one. Point of spirit is another one too. So when people ask me like, oh, what's your sun sign? What's your moon sign? What's your ascendant? That's really like they're calculating your point of fortune, or your vertex as well. But what's really important that you know your chart. You know what triggers your chart, right? So the more you have that information, and you don't want to have to be an astrologer or learn this stuff, I recommend a reading. It's just so much better, because they need to put in the work and hours, and for different components, they need to put in the component to do that. And it's great information, knowledge in general, honestly, to do this study and like to create a database and all this fun hours that you're going to be grilling to like find out like if this works or not, this formula works or not. Just know that if you are using asteroids in general, what I recommend is it's less than 2 orbit degree, maybe -1 orbit degree, because they're not really light. And Jyotish is all about light. That's what I have learned, is about light is life, right? Science of life. Yes, you can do so many compatibility. I'll leave it up here as well. Some of the cheating component steroids, I will also leave that up here as well, so that you can like play around with it and see what you can come up with as well with your ex-partner. But there's one interesting asteroid technique that I really enjoy, and it's just for fun. You can go to astro.com. There's like thousands and thousands of them, like, or hundreds and hundreds of them. I haven't even gone through a lot of it or even done the deep research of like, what do they do? What do they represent? But if you have like a best friend or a mom or a dad, they probably have names, right? And I'm pretty sure or similar asteroids name very similar. And you can see where it hits on your chart. Is it going to hit in your first house, your fourth house? Does it hit your sixth house or your 12th house? Which area does it hit as well? I totally believe in now more research that I have done about like when is the best elective time to go on a date. That matters. That does matter. And it really shows up in the rest of the relationship. You don't need a birth chart for that. It will indicate who you're meeting with, what the person is like, right? If they're more Uranus type of person, or they're more like an Aquarius type of person, then, you know, in your own personal non-negotiable list, which is your 5 non-negotiable. I have been speaking about this on my channel for years and years and years, and I've been preaching about it, and I hope it gets through you. And if you want to share that down in the comment below, please do so. What I've noticed is like, if you're not a type of Uranus type of person, meaning spontaneous, it's not really the type of like relationship or open relationship or an unconventional relationship, is not for you, then you shouldn't go on that date, to be honest with you. And if I see like a lot of like 8th house axis and stuff like that, yeah, if you're really into like wanting to hook up, or the fifth house go to the 8 and stuff like that, if that's your thing, you know, that's great if that's what you want. But if that's not what you're looking for, then meet another time or another date. That will be totally fine too. I made a video on the best time to go on the date in astrology wise, but in Vedic. So like how to do that on the calendar dates and see what that might look like as well. The biggest thing that I have learned in general is if there's a lot of Neptune in the relationship component, I find it doesn't really last very long, and it does dissolve in general. So that being said, when the relationship dissolves, it's not a good component for yourself. So a lot of 12th house axis that tends to dissolve. There's a lot of unknown, unconscious wise, and it could be hidden as well. When we look at sexuality, we look at Mars, and if it's all like with Uranus and Neptune in the 12th house, honestly, you know, send your goodbyes and wish them luck. You know, the moon and the sun being square is another component. If that's also not in the healthy aspect, why continue on? Save your tears, save your youth. Let's find you the right person. So that being said, I want to conclude this video. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like, and I probably will make a horror video down the road so you can see what actually happens behind the scene. All right, that being said, thanks for watching. Bye now. Glad you enjoyed the contents. Give me a like and share and subscribe. The bell button might be helpful. Did you get a chance to check out my Super Queen membership? Because we go into deep dive of your love life and maybe use some practice and connect with other heart-centered queen as well. Join us. The link is in the description. I got over 300 videos on this channel, and I think I picked the next one is right for you. So see you there.